All right, so everyone, you are at the Monday, July 8th Village Board meeting. We just reconvened into open session out of closed session. Just give a little plug here before we continue on to the Oregon Community Access OCA Media. Thank you for being here tonight to stream our meeting. And just remember that if you ever want to watch archive meetings, they're available on the OCA Media's YouTube channel at www.youtube.com/user/OCA Media. Okay, so we have reconvened into open session. And now number 5, we have a public appearance. We're going to have a discussion with Dan Bertler regarding conceptual discussion concerning redevelopment of properties at 1053 Park Street and 1075 Park Street. So welcome, Dan.
Thank you, Jeannie. Hello, my name is Dan Bertler, Supreme Structures. For those who don't know who I am, I've been a village resident for 22 years now, and very proud to be in the village. Throughout the years, my wife and I, as well as my company, have given to the village and the area around it numerous times, and I can't tell you how great it is to be in the village. That said, I've been in business for 27 years. I'm owner of Supreme Structures. And throughout the course of the 27 years, I've developed many relationships with many clients. One of the things I've always hated is the Waterfall Restaurant, just because it's that vacant. I'm sorry. Coming off 138 off Highway 14, I'm like, oof. So when I saw the village own the property, shows you my age here. 1053 Park Street, I inquired about purchasing that lot. I'm the current owner of the Waterfall, or 1075 Park Street. And if you want to just kind of go through the next page, Jeff. One thing you'll notice in the village property that I want everyone to understand is there is a floodplain that sits on that parcel. It's fairly substantial. And if you flip to the next page, out of the area of what you have, which is an acre, 43,560 square feet, you take in considerations the DOT setback, the floodplain, and everything else that sits in there, and the easements. The actual buildable area is 15,693 square feet. As a current owner of 1075 Park Street, I could develop one parcel, one entity, one building, because on that site, I would have to do detention. I would have to abide by the setbacks. So by joining this parcel with the village's parcel, I can come up with a couple renditions. And what does Jeff have up here? Looked at possibly what happens if it is a convenience store. I will call a convenience store more of a grocery store that has gas these days, because the motto has changed throughout the years. Given the location, the current motel across the street, it fits very well. My current client did this design, and they can think outside the box. We currently built one for this client, which became a downtown clock tower court for New Berlin for their village. And when I started that process, I was told there'll never be a convenience store on this corner. They now have a convenience store on that corner, and it is unbelievably done and architecturally done correctly. So they're very interested if I could acquire both parcels, and you can see by the renderings, it works very well.
When you say architecturally, what does that mean?
Not your standard four-sided vinyl building. What I'm saying is a little bit of standing seam, different block bricks veneer, possibly a clock tower court where you have a beacon with a clock, welcome to Village Oregon. Something a little bit nice that you would want to see the entryway coming down the road.
Okay.
I also, Jeff, you want to run down to a financial institution. If I did not go the convenience store route, I have two possible clients of mine that are very interested. One is a fast feeder or I'll say a restaurant, and the other one is a financial institution. Obviously, none of these have been inked in stone, because I do not own this parcel as of yet, but you can see it fits very well on both, and both parties would be very interested in looking further into this situation. And the next one I got coming up is also medical clinic, along with a financial institution. And again, two very interested parties. I'm not sure which one to go, and I'd really like to hit the dirt and try to find more and present back to the village and say, hey, here are two great possibilities, but currently I have three very viable assets that I can bring to the village as a possibility. I'm not asking for any TIF either, so instead of delaying the payment plan on this throughout the years, just flat out, I want to join both parcels. I want to try to hit spring construction, and as well as if I was able to get the village's property, I would go ahead and have demolition done on your current footings and foundation, plus that needs to get filled. That's about $25,000 worth to get that done. And I also have cost of about $30,000 in demolishing the existing waterfall and getting that cleaned up, plus environmental. So I would be on the hook for that as well. What else do you want to know?
Questions for Dan? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, Jerry.
Yes, do you have any idea when you demo the current site?
I would feel very confident that I would have everything cleaned up no later than September 15th this year.
So, okay, so, but spring construction?
Yeah, I would like clean up the entire parcel, both parcels in the next month and a half at a
Very good.
minimum, and do our planning, go through plan commission throughout the winter, have everyone locked in on these for spring construction.
That in itself would be a vast improvement.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It would also time nicely with the reconstruction of Park Street.
Questions or thoughts from board members?
You know, Dan, I brought this up in closed session.
Oh, go ahead, Jeff.
I was wondering if there's, what your thoughts are about a possibility of like a mixed use with middle-income housing above retail, or above retail/bank for that site.
It would be something I would explore if Mike Slavny, where he at, would think it would work. I'm not a multi-family type person, I'm more commercial, so I've not looked at that avenue as of yet, as a retail plus higher building.
Yeah.
But it's definitely, everything's on the table at this point. My whole goal is to try to develop both parcels as soon as possible and just turn around and put it back on the tax base.
Thanks, Dan.
Try to make a new impression versus what's there.
Thank you.
So Dan, is there particular, are you looking for specific feedback from us? Or what, tell us what you're possibly looking for tonight from these conceptual studies?
Well, I would actually,
Oh,
Just apart from the details of the purchase agreement, but more with respect to the conceptual discussion, I think is the question.
yeah.
Yeah.
prior to me jumping and buying on this, purchasing 1075 Park Street, I had two of the people that are up there right now call me and say, if we're gonna do this, we need to go. So my goal tonight with the presentation is I'd love to get it redeveloped, and I need to know as soon as possible, because I'll tell you, I paid a lot of money for the waterfall, and the only way it works out is if I can combine both parcels together and develop it as one parcel.
Any other feedback for Dan? Go ahead, Jenna.
I just want to say I'm really excited to see some visioning for this area, because it is in need of some love. Yeah, thank you for being willing to.
You're welcome. It'd be different if I did not reside in the village. And I like to see things go to the next step, because my daughter right now is currently maybe looking at buying a house in the village. Why does she want to live here? Because we want to make things available for our future generation.
Yeah.
Yeah, Corey.
I'd like to echo that. I think we're extremely excited about getting this part of the village redeveloped and just spruced up. I think it's, the gateway to our community, and right now it's not looking how we want it to. So thank you for putting in the effort for, caring about the community to do that. Have you talked at all, or thought about the Plan Commission and the zoning that is currently there with the uses that you're thinking about doing, and are those compatible?
Yeah. I'm not seeing any issue as for zoning for any of the uses that are here.
Okay.
I also should say that any one of these three will not be your standard building. They will be at a higher architectural grade, not that you typically see.
Amanda?
Yeah, this is more of a basic question. What's the difference in the tax base between having two separate businesses on those lands versus one? Is it basically the same? Is the land taxed on a square foot basis no matter what type of business is on there? Is there any advantage to
No,
going?
that's a great question.
to-
If it was a convenience store and was all said and done, I know that layout with the convenience store showed a two-bay car wash attached to it, plus all the infrastructure. You're probably looking at a tax base of probably $5 to $6 million right there. Financial institution, you're probably looking at $3 million. The fast feeder, probably $2 million when it's all said and done, about $5 million. If it was indeed a clinic, we're probably looking at more. So I would say $4 million to $6 million to possibly even $8 million.
Good. Yeah.
So just Dan, I'm surprised that you wouldn't have this done by the end of the year, to be honest. Having worked with you.
I wish I could.
All right, well, so the board may be going into closed session later tonight to discuss the sale of the property, and thank you very much for coming forward and putting yourself out there with even conceptual plans, because you wouldn't have had to even do that. You could have just asked to buy the village-owned property, so thank you for this. and
You're welcome.
It sounds like we're gonna keep talking.
Yep.
All right. Thank you very much for your time.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Dan. Thanks, Mike.
Thanks, Dan.
All right, moving on our agenda, 6 approval of minutes, we have none. 7 approval of vouchers. Tonight, we have a voucher list for a total of $441,748.38. Can I have a move for approval so we can discuss?
I'll move that.
Second.
All right. Questions?
I used up all my questions.
Yeah.
Anything big you want to highlight, Lisa or Mike? Anything exciting on the voucher list?
Lisa?
Jeff, are you buying any equipment that we need to know about?
Or have you already bought it?
Have to slide that one in.
He's doing it all on credit card now.
Nice.
Exactly.
All right, so
No,
we
no.
don't look like there's anything too exciting.
No, this
Okay.
is pretty, next meeting. Standard.
All right. So, no questions, then roll call for approval, please.
Boudreaux,
Yes.
Carpenter,
Yes.
Jacobson,
Yes.
Horton,
Yes.
Glish,
Yes.
Peterson,
Yes.
Folly.
Yes.
All right. Number 8, we are at the part of the agenda that, for community input. This allows members of the public to provide information to us on anything that is not on the agenda. Is there anyone that would like to present anything to us tonight? Yes, Judy Knudsen, come on down.
Yeah, this is the lucky seat. I'll sit here. How's that? I'm Judy Knudsen, and I'm at the Oregon Chamber of Commerce Executive Director. I just want to thank everybody for coming out and helping with Summerfest. It was a great success. Our parade only was behind like 15 minutes after the rain, and we got that off, so everything worked out wonderful. We made a little money at doing that too. Jeff, thank you, thank you. He covered 3 nights for me.
Yeah.
So thank you very much. You know, with all the volunteers and the community coming out, I just want to thank everybody, so thank you.
Thanks, Judy.
Thank you, Judy, for pulling off another very successful community festival. Thank you to the
Yep,
chamber.
thanks, Judy.
Any other comments, public comments? All right. Going on to number 9, proclamations and announcements under board comments. So this is, we're going to have a continuing discussion regarding trustee Jeff Boudreau is resigning from the village board effective August 31st, 2019. And we need to have a review of the procedure for filling the vacancy for that office. The village administrator has a note on here that in the past, we've requested interested parties to submit a village application for appointment to village board or committee commission, along with a letter indicating their interest in serving on the village board. And then the board invites interested parties to a selected board meeting to ask them a few questions. So I think at the last meeting, we decided that we kind of wanted to start going down that route. So I guess at this time, Jeff, do you want to say a few words? You weren't at the last meeting. Do you want to just say a few words about why you're doing what you're doing?
Yeah, thanks, Jeannie. So I've been accepted into UW-Madison's graduate school, and the timing of my classes are exactly the same as the timing of the board meeting, and that was the primary driver. And I think this is just a wonderful opportunity for a smooth transition for the board, and that isn't something that we've always had historically. I think there's a lot of really important things that are happening in the village right now from the standpoint of infrastructure, investment, the library, the capital improvement plan in general that could involve the village hall and other very important tasks that the village needs to undertake right now. And one of the clearest ways for the village to be able to get through all of that is with a cohesive board. So in my mind, the best way to continue the great work that this board's been able to do is for the board to have input on who comes on the board to fill the remaining, I guess that would be 7 months of my term. My term would normally come up April of 2020. And so with that as a backdrop, when Darlene passed away and we had this opportunity, I was so impressed with the numbers of village residents that came forward and the quality of those village residents who all wanted to be a part of what the board was doing, such that when I was put in this position to decide which was the right way for me to depart from the board, I thought if I could depart in August before school starts and give this board that same opportunity to meet those great folks and give one of those folks an opportunity to come and sort of test drive the board for 7 months, that would just be a win-win for the community. And so ultimately, Jeannie, that's what brought me to my decision. So I really would like to see the board go forward and like to see community members step forward and fill my position and continue to do the great work that the board's been doing for the 5.5 years that I've been here.
Thanks, Jeff. So, so then I think the board, we probably need to decide.
Jeannie, can I?
Oh, I'm sorry.
So, having Corey and I have been through this process, both of us, and I thought it was a very fair and a great process as a way filling. I mean, luckily I got selected, and now I'm here, and so is Corey. So I think it's a good way to really sort of reach out and get some good folks from the community to apply, so.
So I guess a question for Jeff is, do you want to be part of that process in selecting a replacement? Would you feel more comfortable if we did that after you were off the board? Putting you on the spot, but, or if you don't have an opinion, that's okay too.
Yeah, I think ideally, I would not participate in the selection process. I think I have more insight into where we've been than where we're going. I'd really like to see the board itself pick the person that it feels would serve best in the future. That being said, the sooner the better, in my opinion. I mean, if we get somebody selected before the August 31st deadline, there's no reason that I can't go off a little bit earlier. It's just I can't go off any later than August 31st since class starts already the first part of September.
Gotcha, yeah.
I think it's important, unless it's somebody who's been coming regularly, I would like to allow them some time, though, to come to meetings and get their bearings and see how it works before you leave, though, so I don't want you to leave too early.
I'm
That's all I'm
completely
saying.
flexible.
So what is this? We're in, what's the 8th of July? Mike, you had talked about applications being due like third week in August or something?
So we could do it on, which would be Jeff's last meeting, which would be August 19th. We could do the interviews then, the board could. Or if you just wanted to wait and do it on the first meeting in September, we could do that too. It doesn't really, and then that person would be just, I think it happened with Randy. Randy took his spot that same night.
That night, yeah.
But it does, so it's up to the board.
Jenna, then Jerry.
I'm almost nervous to wait that long. I don't know how long it's typical to leave open the applications, but I just think about farther in the packet when you have the budget schedule and already on, like the 19th, we're having a joint meeting with the library, on August 19th with the library to talk 2020 budget, so I don't know if it really makes sense to move it up faster because that's really cutting down time. At the same time, it makes me nervous to wait too much longer and have them join in the thick of it rather than at the beginning of it.
Well, the other option, and I don't care either way, we could have someone join after budget. So they don't get thrown into budget with zero knowledge of how anything works. If you throw someone into this before budget, it's gonna be a lot of questions, which is fine, that a new face, new thought processes are probably good, but you could also do it the other way. Just throwing that out there. Jerry, do you have a thought?
Yeah, I like your idea of waiting till after budget, just because I don't want to rush the application process. How are you going to advertise this? In the Observer?
Kenny, we did the Observer, we did on our Facebook page, we do an email note,
Okay.
we put on the webpage.
Yeah, I'd like to
the
make
last
sure we
time.
had as many applications as possible.
Mhm.
I don't want to rush the process, people see that, and then they have to, I don't know too many people that are like, oh, yeah, I've been thinking about running for village board. A lot of times, this is a surprise, and they need a little time to talk to their families and decide if they have the time to do this. So
Yeah.
if we start somebody after budget, if they're still interested in the budget, they can still come to all the meetings. They'll enjoy, the process, and they can have the treats beforehand. So I guess I'd opt for Jeannie's idea with starting after budget and have a little extra time for applications.
Any other thoughts?
Maybe we should see what kind of response we get, too. I mean, someone's already contacted me because they're interested,
Yeah.
so.
Well, I think we just need to make a decision and move this forward, that's all. I don't think we need to ponder this too long.
Well, Jerry, do you want to make some sort of motion? We'll see where it goes.
Sure, I'll make a motion that we start the application process immediately, and we, with the ultimate goal of hiring or bringing somebody on board after budget season, which is,
So Jerry, when you're saying budgets, are you talking about after the public hearing?
Or just after the budget meeting?
after the budget meetings.
So
after-
sometime after October 16th.
So
Yeah.
I would maybe make it effective November 1st as a clean.
November 1st?
Make it a clean date.
Sure.
Okay.
Just
That's-
one thought, Jeannie. There's 6 people on the board without this seat, and so potentially you could get into a 3-3 block
Mhm.
on an item.
What happens with a 3-3? Oh, arbitrary.
It just fails,
It just fails?
yeah. And you keep making motions until something passes, so. We get along. When have we ever had a problem getting a motion through this committee? So,
Okay, so we have a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay. So the motion is to start the application process immediately, with the goal of having someone on board November 1st, which would be after the budget season for the reasons that we discussed. Okay, discussion.
Okay.
Yeah, go
Yeah.
ahead.
I'm not sure we should limit it until after the budget. I like the idea with starting early, but, I mean, we may get someone who's experienced with budgets, and we may want them to be part of that discussion, so I think we shouldn't determine that yet.
Okay. Yeah, Cory?
Yeah, I kind of feel the same way that, you know, yes, there might be a lot of questions, but they might have a unique perspective that we need up here too, so I wouldn't be opposed. I guess my preference would be to have somebody replace as soon as possible after Jeff's latest date that he can attend.
Okay. Any other, otherwise, yeah, go ahead.
I was just thinking, the way that you had stated the motion, does that leave us, is that the opening to, if we find it, if we get a bunch of applications, then we have the ability to bring them on, before, make the selection before November 1st, it just needs to be done by November 1st, is that how I heard that?
Well, I think we start the application immediately.
Yeah.
I mean, we even interview people, perhaps while Jeff's here, we make a selection, but their start date isn't until November 1st. So that way, if they want to come to budget meetings, they can. I mean, I have no vested interest either way. I'm thinking about my first year on the board, and I was on the board for 6 months before budget season started, and it was super overwhelming. I just don't want someone to be overwhelmed and quit. I mean, for those, Randy, you've been through a budget season?
I did.
Okay,
yeah.
Cory, you haven't been through a budget season yet?
Not
It's-
with the village, but in my previous position,
Yeah.
I went through budget all the time, so.
Were you
with
sitting on this side of the
municipality.
table?
Not on this side, but the other side, putting it together.
Yeah, it's a little different on this side of the table. Okay, well, let's just vote, so if it goes down, we'll do another motion. All right, so all in favor, do we know what we're voting on? Starting immediate, or, application immediately, selecting someone while Jeff is still here, then they start after, or November 1st. So all in favor of those motions, say aye.
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 So I think we have 4, right? Me, Jenna, Randy. Okay, nay?
A nay.
Okay, abstaining?
Yes.
Okay, motion carries. All right, so that's our plan. Is that clear?
Just one little point of clarification. Yes, very clear.
Okay.
Very clear.
Okay.
Just what is the deadline for applications? I don't wanna know.
What was the, you had thrown out August
You
15th?
you may do that? So so the August 19th meeting?
And do people come and we interview them on August 19th?
If that,
Does that work for you?
well, somebody said that it is a joint meeting with the library board.
The August 19th meeting is?
Yeah,
It
the
is.
2020 budget.
And so, I mean, if the person's not gonna start till the 1st, why don't we just do it in September then? Or
Jeff,
that-
is it okay
that
if you're
too-
not here
Is that
to-
too long?
To be on the, you can come and listen.
Yeah, I would defer to you.
Okay.
No, it's gonna be your vacancy ultimately.
Okay. All right, then I guess we're not in a super big rush.
It's totally up to the board. I didn't hear a deadline for getting applications.
September works, I don't know,
So
I
if we
mean,
do,
whatever.
the interviews,
Yeah, I know that.
the first, like September 9th, you're thinking maybe?
Yes, so if it was September 9th, I would say, let's get it no later than the 4th of September. That'd be my recommendation.
Okay,
to get
so
the ball-
applications due September 4th, and then we interview folks on the 9th.
If that's okay with the board.
Does that sound okay?
Yep.
Okay.
Okay. Excellent.
And then we will advertise that.
And thank you all very much for all the support that you've given me over the years,
That makes sense.
and for just being great board members. It's just been a joy.
Thank you.
Even the stressful board meetings have been joyful, relatively speaking. I go home and pound a few jacks, but at the end of the day, we're all good.
When has there been stress?
So we should make a note that Jeff's probably last regular village
Yep.
board meeting will be August 19th.
I have it on my calendar.
Yeah, so
Yep.
we should not forget that in case, I don't know, we want to thank Jeff or something. Don't let me forget.
We will,
That would
I
be
will, no,
embarrassing.
I will not.
Okay, cool.
Nope.
All right, so, moving on then, B, staff comments. We have some upcoming meetings there.
Can we, before you move on,
Oh,
board
yes.
comments?
Oh,
Can I just give a quick shout out to Quick Trip because for the Summerfest parade, OCA Media was filming in the rain and drying off their equipment frantically, and the generator died twice. And Quick Trip on Main Street was nice enough to let them use their electricity so that they could film it. So that was very generous of them.
Very
excellent.
But it went off otherwise without a hitch. So
All right,
Say that.
yes, thank you for sharing that. I'm sorry, any other board comments? All right. Then going on to staff comments, we have some upcoming meetings there. Mike, anything you want to highlight?
So we will have a board meeting next Monday night, and then the ice cream social the following night. And then we'll see if we need the meeting on the 22nd. Possibly we won't need that. And then there is a joint meeting with the towns at the senior center on the Thursday, the 25th, and then there will be a personnel meeting on July 29th.
All right.
Who's on that committee, Mike?
So you're asking if you're on the committee, Chair?
I'm asking who's on the committee.
Us, Jerry.
Actually, indirectly.
Jenna chairs,
Okay.
Randy, and Jeff.
And Jeff.
Yeah, so
What's the date
The 29th.
29th,
of,
July.
He'll still be here.
yeah, I should be all right.
Mhm.
Just jump into my calendar.
All right. Thank you for that.
Yeah,
So,
sure.
item number 10, communication miscellaneous business. We have a discussion and possible action regarding hiring process for replacing retired public works employee. We have a recommended motion to authorize Director of Public Works to conduct hiring process to replace retiring Public Works employee Mark Johnson. Someone want to make that motion, please?
I'll move.
I'll second.
All right, Jeff, do you want to?
Yeah, I just want to thank Mark for his years of service with the village, wish him well in his retirement. And of course, we'll look forward to kind of adding, or, being able to replace him in our team.
Excellent.
As long as you guys say, go for it.
Any other questions?
You mean you didn't hire anybody already?
Nope.
Okay.
It's twice now.
It's almost like you have a bad reputation,
You
Jeff.
sell one piece of equipment without,
Tear down one building
Yeah,
without
turn
asking.
out one
first.
building, yeah.
auction off one building.
couple little
without
things.
permission. You never hear the end of it.
All right, all in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. All right.
He starts tomorrow, by the way.
All right, 10B is a library, review the library buzz from July, August 2019. And Jennifer, since you're here, do you want to give us some highlights?
No, there's just a lot going on this summer, so we're pretty busy, and there's lots of just a wide variety. We've really expanded our adult offerings this year, so I would invite you to check out something if there's anything of interest, but otherwise, just wanted to share what's going on.
Thank you for, this is quite the list of events. How's the summer reading program going?
I think last time I asked, which was a couple weeks ago, we had over 900 people signed up.
Wow.
But I haven't asked recently, so.
Wow. Exciting. All right, well, please thank your staff for doing good things and for keeping us informed.
Thank you.
Item C is a FYI only. We have a League of Wisconsin Municipalities Mutual Insurance Annual Report from 2018, so that's in our packet if you'd like to review that. Item D, review of the 2020 budget schedule and direction with Village Board. So this is going back to our earlier comment, or earlier discussion. So Mike, I'm assuming that you want to make sure that all of these meetings are on our calendars?
Yes, in October, please, yep.
I don't know if everyone has their calendars tonight, but if you have conflicts, please let Mike know as soon as possible.
And we're trying to do trying to have the hearing on November 18th ahead of the Thanksgiving week, because we've had quorum issues in the past when we have it that Monday, so,
Gotcha.
yep.
All right. Item E, we have a letter from Dane County Executive Joe Parisi and City of Madison Mayor Sacha Rhodes Conway regarding the July 23rd meeting on sustainability and climate change. I was going to go to that meeting. If anyone would like to join me, just let me know. You want to go, Amanda? Okay. Oh, I have a car that fits 4, so I should probably RSVP. Yep, I need to RSVP. So Amanda, yes, Jenna, maybe?
I'm a maybe.
Okay.
Well, Mike would have to notice that too, right?
Yeah, so Jeannie, could you tell me how many you end up going so I can notice it? please?
Yes.
Okay,
I'll be driving on my own, I'm sorry.
Okay, that's fine.
so I think, so the 3 are gonna probably go, I think we'll just notice it.
Maybe just
then.
notice it
We'll
just in
notice
case.
it. Yep.
All right. Item F, we have a public notice of Thompson Clark Park closure due to safety concerns and tree removal. Jeff, how's the tree removal going?
Going very well, actually, yeah, we closed it on Wednesday, I believe it was last week, and of course with the holiday weekend, we didn't have anything done on Thursday or Friday. And I hate doing that, but I had gone out, we'd actually had a tree fall down in a storm, and then I did see another tree that was very close to the play equipment that we've been planning to remove. It was even looking worse, and so that's why I made that decision to just close it. We had Arbor Systems out there falling the 4 largest, most dangerous trees there, and then my crew was out there all the day taking trees down and chipping. We're probably gonna, kind of my idea was to have them pile some of the wood up near the front, and if people want that wood, it can be reused for firewood or whatever. And then if it doesn't disappear after a few weeks, we'll then haul it away, and that type of thing. Just the way it can be reused. It's mostly ash is really the main thing back there, but I have some pictures I took this afternoon, pretty impressive to see what's on the ground right now out there. And there's still more to come down. Just a lot of ash trees out there that died, that for some reason were never part of the original ash study that was done. So they were never treated, and which is all right. I'm kind of getting to the point where we want to move beyond the ash tree and more towards sustainable, diversified trees in the parks, and that we don't have these things that just wipe out an entire park at once. But it's coming along well. I hope to have it open up by the end of this week.
Okay. All right, item G, we have a FYI, there's a police department training at the middle school on July 15th through July 19th.
And then, Jeannie, can I mention one thing under staff report I forgot to mention?
Oh, sure.
Maybe Jeff should, Jeff, you want to talk about West Netherwood?
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry.
I just
Yeah,
thought of that.
We did water over the road again on this West Netherwood. This last weekend's storms have caused Lake Barney Swamp again to flow with more vengeance. And we were actually catching up for a little while. So we're monitoring that. We'll probably have that closed through this week. As I went out there right before the meeting tonight, and there's just a little bit of water coming over the road, but it's still 3 to 4 inches deep on the upstream side. So we'll have it go down and then let it dry out a little bit and have it open by the end of this week. We're trying to weigh the pros and cons. Last time when we had to rent pumps to pump from the north side to the south side of the road, it was about $10,500 for the 2 weeks for the pumps. And then we're trying to make that decision of whether or not we would make that investment at that time, at this time. And that's just for rental of pumps. So
Jeannie?
with that,
Yeah.
good.
So I've been thinking about this quite a bit, and I wonder if it wouldn't just make sense, and maybe I'd like to just encourage you to try to see how the Badfish Creek flowed out of Lake Barney 100 years ago or 150 years ago. It's clear to me that the water's going to win this fight, and see if we can figure out a way to reconnect through the development that we've done, roads, et cetera, so that the water can flow into the Badfish Creek and out of the village the way that it used to,
Yeah.
as opposed to trying to build around it.
Yeah, we're working on that. That's exactly the path we've been kind of pursuing. And that's really through, historically, it's been through across Netherwood Road down near Josh Below's house down there, and that culvert down there, and then through Lerner Park. And we're working with the Drainage Board and some other entities on a plan for that.
And it might make for some really nice wetland. I was reading something in the paper on Sunday about, so what they call it was drained agricultural land. So over the past 50, 100 years, what have you, when the water tables dropped, agricultural land appeared. And so they just drained off the rest of it and planted crop. Well, what they did in the process is they killed wetland and the wetland plants that went around it, right? And so
Correct.
now a lot of communities are actually leaning into that and saying, hey, this was wetland at one time, why don't we just restore it
Right.
to the wetland that it was and bring the birds and the other amphibians and whatnot back into the area?
Yep, that's what we've talked about wanting to do for Lerner Park. And we're kind of, I would say we're in the infantile phase of that, trying to evaluate what historically happened over there. And I with you, I would rather make lemonade out of this and turn it into an amenity rather than a headache that we have to deal with all the time.
Good. Thank you, Jeff.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
We're not actually making lemonade out of it, though. I just want everyone to be very clear.
And before we move off point G, I have a question. so I know we kind of jumped back, but the police department training at the middle school, is that like, is there signage somewhere so people don't freak out that
And
something's
that-
going on at the
And
middle
that's,
school?
yeah, well, something up there, and that's why I have it on the
Okay.
agenda, we didn't want people exactly
Okay.
being concerned about. I think, Jeff, you're gonna put the sign up, aren't you, for that? For the training at the middle school?
I had been told.
Oh, I thought you were,
I
okay.
did see that the Oregon Police Department put an announcement on Facebook today
Yeah.
that they were having training.
Okay,
So
good.
I'm hopeful that they will try to get the word out.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, so report of committees, we have none. We have no minutes requiring action. We have no unfinished business. We have one thing of new business. We have an approval of a pending new operator license. This has been recommended by the police department at headquarters, Lori A. Mayo. I have a motion for that.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. All right, we have some future agenda items. Are we going into closed session again? All right, we are going into closed session again. So item 16, the board may convene into closed session pursuant to Wisconsin State Statutes 19.85, 1E, to discuss the possible terms of sale of property located at 1053 Park Street, which is the former motel site. And after that, we will reconvene into open session.
Jeannie, excuse me for a second.
Go ahead.
We don't need to come back on open, so we'll
We don't.
we'll
We'll
adjourn
adjourn from closed
closed
session.
session.
I'm
So
sorry.
So Dan can take off.
All right, I misspoke. We will actually, we will adjourn from closed session. All right. So I need a
Sorry.
motion to go into closed session, please.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Horton,
Yes.
Jacobson.
Yes.
Spelling.
Yes.
Peterson.
Yes.
Boudreaux.
Yes.
Carpenter.
Yes.
Glish.
Yes.
All right. We will go into closed session. Thank you, everybody, for attending tonight.